All right, good evening and welcome to this week's installment of GSP Live here at Guitar Solo in San Francisco, California. I am going to be your entertainment for the next 45 to an hour, and my name is Julio Reyes. I'm a local here from Oakland, California, and I'm going to be sharing with you music by Agustin Barrios and music made popular by Andre Segovia. Now, the reason I picked these two guys is because they're probably the most important people for the classical guitar. Andre Segovia was the guy that actually helped design what we now know as the guitar, the size of it, right? And he taught us all the music about Bach and all the technique and all that stuff. But Agustin Barrios is the one that taught us how to play with feeling, with a lot of soul. So learning those two people's music makes you a really well-rounded guitar player, I think. Another reason why I'm a big lover of Barrios is my father studied with a student of Barrios. So I've been playing Barrios' music since I was a little kid, and now I give lectures on his music and his life. So I'm going to start out with one of his pieces that he made very well known. It's not a piece by him, it's actually a piece written by a Brazilian composer. And it's Choro number 1. So that is Choro number 1, made famous by Andre Segovia. And the next piece that I'm going to play is another piece that was made very well known by Andre Segovia. It's called Asturias, and this is like Guitar 101. You can't be taken seriously as a guitar player unless you play this piece. I love that piece. I remember as a young kid going to see Andre Segovia come here to the Masonic Auditorium in San Francisco and play. I was 7, 8, 9 years old. My dad, he was friends with Segovia, and we'd always go backstage and meet him. And I remember the first time that I met Andre Segovia, I was so nervous. I mean, it was like a rocker meeting Van Halen for the first time. It was an amazing experience. I'll never forget it. I shook his hand. It was like shaking a warm sponge. He had these pudgy hands and sausage fingers, and he could still play so beautifully. His wife was there with him, and so my dad and Segovia were friends, and so they would be on the corner reminiscing, catching up with each other, and his wife would come over and pinch the hell out of my cheek and say, "Oh, que niño tan lindo." So it was a great experience. My dad was also friends with the Romero brothers, so I'd play for them. I was so young, I didn't know to be scared or nervous. So I'm going to play for you now a piece that I wrote. It's a piece that I wrote upon the death of a really good friend of my family. He was also a guitarist. His name was Filippo Roschiger. Great classical guitarist, wrote some beautiful music. Matter of fact, David Russell, very well-known classical guitarist, another person of the same ilk of Andre Segovia, very well-known guitarist. He actually recorded one of Philip's pieces, and I believe it's the album that he won the Grammy on. So he passed away, and I was very touched by this because I had known Philip since I was a little kid, and he was always giving me pointers on positioning, and reminding me I should always warm up, and telling me how I should do my nails. And so when I heard of his passing, I felt very depressed. And so I wrote something. And so this is called Onward to Paradise. For you, buddy. Yeah, still gets to me. So, moving on to something really nice and happy. My father, as I said before, he was my teacher. He got me started on the guitar when I was 5 years old, and he had me practicing 5 hours a day from that moment on. I would practice an hour and a half before elementary school, come home, practice an hour and a half, do homework, practice another hour and a half, have dinner, maybe practice another half hour, an hour. I did that for a long time. Because of it, I didn't get to do certain things like learning how to swim, camping, riding a bicycle, but at the same time, I got to do cool things. At the age of 14, I went to Mexico City and I competed in a guitar competition. The next person that was older than me was like, I think 30, and I was 14. When I was 15, I got to go to Paraguay and travel all over the country giving guitar recitals. At 17, I got to do a guitar concerto with the Oakland Symphony with Calvin Simmons, the great Calvin Simmons. I got a funny story about that. I'll share it later. Right now, what I'm going to play for you is a piece by my father. It's called Gratitude. He dedicated it to his teacher, Dionisio Basualdo, who, like I said, was Barrios' student. He was living in Asturia at the time, right in front of a train station, and he'd always wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. So the harmonics you hear at the beginning are him waking up at 5 o'clock. Then after that, you hear, that's him stretching, waking up. And then when the waltz starts, he's going about his day. So this is Gratitude. middle of playing that piece, it makes me think a lot about my dad. He was an interesting guy. He was a comedian, and he did that, and he wasn't even planning on it. He had a 5-piece. They were on tour, and they were at a concert, and the comedian that was supposed to open the show never showed up. And so the guy that was arranging the gig said, hey, one of you guys is gonna have to go out there and tell some jokes. And so my dad wasn't paying attention. And so his friends from the band just grabbed him and threw him out to the front of the stage, from the side of the stage, from the wing. My dad is like, what? And he runs to the opposite side of the stage. Those people threw him back out to the front of the stage. So then my dad starts to have a panic attack. His knees are shaking. He himself is shaking. He's getting visibly bent out of shape, right? He's looking at the people in the audience. And back in those days, people would get dressed to the nines when they would go on to a concert. Nice lavish hats that the women were wearing. Men were wearing very expensive outfits, nice suits, ties. And my dad was staring at these people, laughing at them, because he was having a panic attack. They thought it was part of his shtick. And so they laughed like crazy, and he became very well known as a comedian by accident. So that, I always love that story. Okay, so one person that Andre Segovia really liked, and Agustin Barrios both liked, was Johann Sebastian Bach. I myself like Bach. He could turn a 2-measure phrase into a whole invention. And amazing, amazing music. So this is his Preludio from the first cello suite. And there's a tie-in with with Barrios on this piece. I'll tell you about it in a second. Like I said, Barrios was a big lover of Bach, and one of Barrios' most popular pieces. It's called La Catedral, the Cathedral. It's a 3-movement piece that he wrote. However, the second and third movement he wrote 14 years before he wrote what is now the first movement. Now, like I said, he's a big lover of Bach. So the very first movement of La Catedral, now this is for the guitar players in the house. If you're not a guitar player, this is going to be an interesting story anyway, okay? So, the first movement of La Catedral that's the first movement. Now, he was a big lover of Bach. So all these guitar players are wondering, where did he come up with that line? Why did he do that? Well, he's a big lover of Bach. And that line is the inversion of the piece that I just played. So that's where he got his inspiration for that movement. The reason he wrote it 14 years or 19 years later was because he went through a big depression. He had just given a guitar recital in Argentina. He was playing steel strings. Gut strings hadn't made it to Paraguay yet. So Andre Segovia was in Argentina and he gave a recital the week before on gut strings. So everybody was enamored with the sound of that gut string. And here he was, poor Barrios, playing with steel strings where he'd put a piece of rubber through here to get a little bit of the twang out of there. So that's part of the reason why he went ahead and started dressing up as an Indian. He thought he had to look different, and he called himself Nitsuga Mangore. Nitsuga is Agustin spelt backwards. And Mangore is an old Paraguayan chief. So he wrote this next piece that I'm going to play. It's a very popular Barrios piece. And he dedicated it to my dad's teacher. So I had to learn this because my dad forced me. And it says Waltz number 4, Opus 8. favorite pieces. Nice workout though. So now we're going to get more into the in-depth Paraguayan music. I'm going to start playing you 2 polkas. Yes, they got polkas in Paraguay. Now, they have 3 different types of polkas. They got the first kind of polka, which is called la guaraña, and that's the, hey, how you doing? Where you from? That sort of guaraña, okay? The middle speed guaraña is called a galopa, a gallop, and it's, that's the style of the next piece I'm going to play. The third style is the actual polka paraguaya. And it's all it's very straight as far as chordal structure. So this first piece that I'm going to play by Barrios, it's called Hachevalle, which is in Guarani means, Guarani is the Indian language of Paraguay, by the way, and it means, oh, my land. So think of, you're a big property owner, and you're standing on the top of a hill, and you're admiring this beautiful land that you have. That's the meaning behind this piece. So that tune sometimes is played by a harp and a guitar accompaniment, and sometimes they'll play a polka like that with dancers. And you'll have a lady, very nice, beautiful floral dress, that will wear a wine bottle on her head. During the first verse, she dances around with the wine bottle. Second verse comes, they put another wine bottle on top. And they keep on putting wine bottles. The record is 10 wine bottles, one on top of the other. You can go on Google and look it up. It's a pretty wild thing to see this lady dancing around, smiling like she does this every day. So it's a beautiful thing to see. So this next piece, it's Danza Paraguaya. It's a Paraguayan polka. And before I go on, there's some housekeeping that I kind of need to do. For donations via Venmo and PayPal, you can go to gsp@gspguitar.com. That is gsp@gspguitar.com. So here is Danza Paraguaya. That's another fun piece to play. So, how are we doing on time there, guys? Okay, great. We're doing fine on time. So, I'm going to play a piece of mine now. It's called Ballerina. I was doing a lot of meditating one day, and I just started noodling around, and I came across with this one piece, and I was picturing a ballet dancer performing this as I played. So as I'm playing, if you have any questions or any comments you want to make, you want to ask me anything about Barrios, Segovia, anything like that, feel free to go ahead and send us a message, all right? If we can, we'll go ahead and answer it on the air, shall we say. So this is Ballerina. That again. Who wrote this? So we're good? All right, great. So, and now, I thought I should play something different. I tune because I care. Just in case you're wondering, I use a Takamine Harada guitar. It's an acoustic electric, and I'm playing through a Gensler acoustic array amp. Sounds pretty good from over here. Hopefully you're getting the same vibe. It has a little tube. I don't know if you can see it. It's an itty bitty tube inside the guitar that actually makes it sound nice and warm, so it doesn't sound like I'm playing through a transistor radio. Okay, so this piece, I think you'll recognize the melody. It's an arrangement by Pat Metheny, of all people. I saw that piece on a video that he did, and I was looking for the music and I couldn't find it. So I just saw the video, forward, rewind, forward, forward, rewind, forward, forward. And I learned the piece. I love that piece. So we have a request for Julia Florida by Carlos Urquiaga. All right, it's a great piece that you picked. Julia Florida, great piece. Really interesting story. I hope you don't mind me telling you about it. Julia Florida, her real name is Julia Martinez. She was a housekeeper for Agustin Barrios when he was on tour in Central America. The impresario, the uncle of Julia Martinez, said, hey, while you're here giving gigs, why don't you stay at my place? I'll even provide you with a housekeeper. So he goes and he stays there and he's practicing, getting ready for his gigs, and Julia Martinez is his housekeeper. Well, she eventually became his guitar student, and then eventually became more than a guitar student, if you know what I mean. Well, since Barrios had this common-law wife, Gloria, they weren't officially married, but they'd been together for so long, and he always referred to her as his wife. So it wasn't a lustful thing. It wasn't just purely sex. Barrios really had some serious feelings for this woman, and it was reciprocated. She had really strong feelings for him. And like I said, it wasn't strictly a physical thing. They really cared about each other. But he couldn't just leave his wife, Gloria. And so what was he going to do? So he did the next best thing, and he wrote a piece for her. Well, he couldn't upset his wife if he called it Julia Florida, and I'll tell you in a second why they called her Julia Florida. And so he called it La Barcarola, the boat girl. Well, because of that, a lot of guitar players, when they play this tune, they play it like a boat song. But that's not the way you're supposed to do it. Another thing that people do is they listen to these old Agustin Barrios recordings from back in the 30s and 40s, all scratched up. Well, back in those days, you couldn't just record an album on Pro Tools. They didn't have it then. You had to record your piece and make it fit within 2 minutes. And if it didn't fit, you either had to play the piece faster or chop off a section. So Barrios had to play all his pieces a lot faster. And so that's why people play this piece so darn fast. But it's not, it's a love song. So let me play this for you. So, Justin Pridham, dude, how are you? Oh my God. The tuning was a regular tuning. Just a regular tuning. Now, the reason they called her Julia Florida and not Julia Martinez is because in the span of a year, she grew like 6-7 inches. She sprouted. In Spanish, we call that Florida. So that's why they call her Julia Florida. Thank you for that request. Thank you. I really enjoy that piece. It always gets me in a really relaxed mood. So, thank you for that. Thank you. So, how much more time we got, guys? Keep on going, huh? Okay, we'll play some more. So, Richard Stover, who I regard as the Indiana Jones of the Barrios world, he's the one, for his senior thesis, what this guy did, check this out. Barrios, when he was traveling, he didn't stay in hotels. He stayed in people's homes. And so as a thank you, he wouldn't pay them, and they wouldn't accept his money anyway. So what he did was, since he was such a great artist in many ways, he was a true bohemian person. He was very good at calligraphy. He was very good at charcoal, pencil, paint drawing. He wrote poetry. Very, very much a Renaissance man. And so he would write these pieces of music for the people that he was staying at their homes, right? And he would draw little faces of the people in the family on the borders of the music. So Richard Stover, a guitarist, unfortunately he's passed away by now, but on his senior thesis, what he did was he went to all these different countries and all these different homes where Barrios stayed. And in many cases, he was either able to make a copy of that music or actually get the original music. So he published all that music, and that's the reason why now the world knows about Barrios. My father had been talking about Barrios ever since he got to this country. I can remember Richard Stover, when he was working on his book, he came over to the house and spent quite a few hours, just picking my dad's picking his brain about stuff about Barrios. So, you guitar players out there, I really suggest you pick up some Barrios music and play it, okay? Bach and all the Baroque stuff, that is really great, and I love it myself. But it's going to teach you how to play in a certain style, okay? When you start playing Barrios' music, it's going to start teaching you how to play from here, not just from here, okay? So give it a whirl. And you can look me up if you have any questions about the back history of these pieces. So, a person that was very much affected by Barrios was Antonio Lauro from Venezuela. He was studying piano and violin until he went to a house concert where Barrios was playing. He saw Barrios play, and he said, the heck with the violin and the piano, I'm playing guitar. Well, he ended up becoming one of Venezuela's most prominent and important composers for the guitar. He wrote 4 waltzes when he was playing a lot of folk music in his trio. Excuse me. So the first 3 rather, out of the 4, he named after family members. One of them a niece, I believe. One of them is a sister. And the one that I'm going to play for you, he named it after his daughter, Natalia. So. Andre Segovia, I believe, played this also. So it goes all the way around. That's a fun piece to play too. So, excuse me. So I'm going to leave you with this one piece by Andre Segovia. Well, it's really by Fernando Sor, but Let's see. Mozart wrote it, and then Fernando Sor came over and did like a theme and variations on it, and then Segovia recorded it. That's the way it went. And it's like one of Segovia's big hits. So this is his theme and variations by Mozart from the Magic Flute. Before I do, I want to thank you all for tuning in. In this day and age, we really need music, okay? So let's get on to the piece. not fun to play with sweat on your fingers. So, from Carlos Urquiaga, Santarega, last one. Okay. It's up to you. Okay. Santarega. Okay. This piece is Capricho Árabe by Francisco Tárrega. I'd like to thank you all for tuning in today. I've had a great time playing for you. Come back next week, and you're going to find another great musician sitting here entertaining you. Have a great night, everybody.